Oop. You're muted. Oh, there we go. No. Uh, oh, connecting to audio. Technical difficulties. Please hold. Oh gosh.
Oh my God, thank God.
Oh,
I am so sorry.
telling you, it's the morning of weird. It just
It
is.
is the morning of weird. It is the morning of weird, and that's okay. We'll just get through it. I'm not. Oh my God, I'm so pale.
Oh my gosh, this thing washes me out sometimes. Like, and I mean,
Oh, cute. I like your little
oh my
calendars.
gosh, they are
I couldn't
fantastic.
even, I was so distracted with how stupid I am with using technology. I didn't even see how cute your
I
office
love
is.
them. And like, well, I don't know if I can. Oh, hang on. We're gonna try something.
Okay.
I'm gonna be short for a moment, but
Oh,
it's pretty funny. Okay, let's see how
look at
tall.
you.
So I'm gonna be short because it's my standing desk, but you can see my board.
Yes.
So
Yes,
aren't they
so
lovely? So
cute.
this one has like the most stuff on it because that's this one. This is such a weird thing, but like, look how cute they are.
So cute.
I
Did you
love.
make those?
No, I got the boards off of Amazon because Jess from Hustle Sanely, like she has like a full year on her wall, and I'm like, that's a little
Yeah.
too much for.
Yeah.
So this is like the perfect amount. It's 2/4, and my sister came in and redid these monthly headings because
Cute. Yeah.
she's like, it's been a while since you've written in cursive, hasn't it? And I'm like, shut up, bitch. And so
Rude.
she just
Rude.
erases December and then she like writes it and I'm like, and this is why I turned your
Yeah.
handwriting into a font for the shop because like I'm
Yes.
like you can't just do one. So she like spent some time like doing she reads
Yeah.
all my headers. So
Yeah.
I love them. They make
They're
me
so cute.
productive and I can like see, at a glance like what I was
I
going
love
on.
that.
I
I
love it.
love that.
So
I'm
I'll,
so jealous of
add
your
more.
whole setup. It's
I
so
love
cute.
it. It's so much better than it's ever been. I feel like the office will just continue to like evolve because
Yeah.
I've gone through I don't know how many different desk arrangements, different like room arrangements. This one's my favorite. We'll see how long it lasts
Good.
though. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I have that issue too where I like reorganize things all the time.
Yeah.
So when we were organizing our house, we planned it all out and we bought things that can't be moved. My couch is like a small country. So you can't, like, it literally is like fit for the room one way. There's
Yeah.
no other way it fits in the house. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna, there's just no way. So,
That's funny.
yeah, I get that. I get that. All
Yeah.
right. Well, so sorry for my we will have plenty of bloopers to be able to choose from.
Oh my gosh. That's yeah. I mean, tech happens. Tech shit.
Oh my God. Well,
And
and
it's just been a morning
obviously
of
you're
weird.
right. I
So
think it has to do with my external camera, but at least we troubleshooted what the issue was. But I'm
yeah.
not going to have any device that's going to ruin my sound settings on my computer.
Yeah, no, that's not cool. That's not cool.
No, absolutely not. Okay, so well, welcome to the Two Victorias podcast.
Hello.
um, we were gonna talk about some things today. I have a whole book rant I need to go on, and I want your opinion on it because maybe I'm just being like judgmental and annoying. But I feel like when it comes to books, like you are my liaison of, you know, just everything that it is to look at books and talk about books and writings. Because you don't
I'm
seem very
obsessed.
picky about like who you read, but I am. So
I have like a list of authors that are like my
mm,
top authors. But then,
right.
me and Mandy are constantly like messaging like new books to each other. And
Yeah.
she created this sticker that, let me see if I can find it. It's so cute. She like sent it to me the other day, and she saw it on like someone's Kindle, and she made like a digital version about like adding to the list, because we are constantly adding to our book list. And then we blame each other for it being so long that
Mhm.
there's no way to read it all. And then,
Right.
now that I've got like my Bookstagram account going, I've been doing
Yes.
yeah, I'm loving it.
Yes.
And I've been doing like more like book PR posts too. And
Ooh.
so like I'm doing some PR posts for like two different marketing companies right now. And
Hmm.
there's like several different not artists, authors for
Yeah.
them. And so one of them, like, she has a new book in a ongoing series, and it comes out in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. And I haven't
Hmm.
read anything from her yet. And so I'm like, okay, this is book 6 in the series. Do I have enough time to binge read the entire series?
Yeah.
And
You do.
I'm like,
You do.
yeah. So I mean, I'm on book 1. So I read like the novella yesterday, and then like last night I started like book 1. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get caught up. And it's like
You're so quick with it though, dude. You're so quick with
not
it. I'm
nearly as
so
quick as
jealous.
Mandy. It's like
I know she blows
ridiculous.
through them.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Yeah.
she sent me a picture, like she's using one of my book journals too.
Yeah.
And so like we'll send each other like our monthly pages every once in a while. And I'm like, mine just looks pathetic next to yours. And she's like, no. I'm like, there's no gaps in between your books. Like where are the gaps?
Yeah. Where are the gaps?
Like, good
Where are the
man.
days where you're taking the time to read
Like,
the book? And she's like, what do
right.
you mean? I
It's
did
so
two
funny.
today. I
It's
read
so
two books
funny.
today.
Like, I sent her this thing
Well, I'll
the other
go
day
on.
about books, and she's
Yeah.
like, bitch, we don't have time for another project.
Right. You're like, don't get me started. Dude, okay. So do you want a life update, side gig update, or do you want me to go on my book rant, or do you want me to save it for the end?
Let's go to books. Just 2 books. Let's go.
Okay, books.
We
Okay.
need to
So
have you over there for
I'm reading the Witcher series.
okay. Oh, like the Netflix like show.
Yes.
Which oh,
Yes. So here's
how
a
did I
little
not know that was
backstory.
a book?
It's short. Okay, this is the issue. It was written in the 80s by a Polish author.
Okay.
They were short stories
Oh,
about the universe that is The Witcher. The
okay.
games took that because it's a video game. So they took the video. Yeah, there's 3 video
I
games.
didn't know
Oh,
that
this is
either.
this is a rant. Like
No,
this is gonna
go
be
ahead.
20 minutes. Okay,
Go ahead.
so
This could
the
be
games are
like
great.
we could put off our topic that we had planned into
Also
a
true.
whole thing
Also true.
about
That
books,
is so. You are so right. You're right. Okay, so
because I recently found 2 different book movies that like, well, 3. There's 3
okay, cool.
movies
Then
that
the whole podcast can be about books today. That's fine.
yeah, we could do
I'm okay with that.
we could do
Because
that.
I'm about to start like my own book rant YouTube. Because like I feel like I could just go on about complaining about books and then like raving about books. But
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
um, so preface,
Hmm.
80s author, short stories, compile like kind of like compilations of just like what he wants the universe to be like, kind of stuff.
Okay.
Book games get made. Games are very like Skyrim, if you know what that is, where it's very like choose your own adventure.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
main storyline, but you could like go do other things, go
Oh, okay.
kill monsters, save the princess kind of game.
Gotcha. Okay.
You are playing The Witcher. You are playing one of the many Witchers in the games.
Oh, okay.
Because
Gotcha.
they're a bunch of them. They're like a race of people that happened after the mages. Um, see, there's like so much. Okay, so in the universe, there's spheres, right? Like existences of planets. There
Hmm.
is a collision of the planets. One planet has elves, one has humans and like dwarves and stuff. So humanoidic, and then like there's elvish, high elf, mages, like all magic. And
Okay.
then when the planets collided, it like fucked up both planets, right? Like it just screwed up everything, and it kind of like they kind of like became the same planet. So like some of the places got re-terraformed, whole communities are just now in this new world.
Okay.
So what happened is at a certain point in history, the Witchers were created to fight off the monsters from this other world because the humans were dying like a lot, and so were the elves because it was just like almost like the void opened up all these crazy monsters. So these mages, because like humans took magic from elves, they like stole
Well, how
the
rude.
idea of magic, and like, you know, I mean, it's a very convoluted part of the story where it's like, did they or did they not? Like they always allude to it being like an elf thing, and they like were killing elves and stealing their magic. Anyway, like that has zero back. Like this is where I'm gonna lose my mind because so the show, right, alludes to all this really cool like early development of the universe, and like so like Lord of the Rings, right? Lord of the Rings sets you up with like, this is how the world was made. This is what all the like the gods are like. These are the Mylar. These are the Valar. Like here are all these stepping stones. Here are where the elves are from. Actually, the elves were the first ones here. Now the humans are, you know, and so I'm like, okay, great. I love this series. I love the games. Love the show. Can't wait to read the books. Can't wait to get all this backstory of all of the cool things I know nothing about. Can't
Mm.
wait to read how the planets collided. How did the mages steal, you know, the magic from the elves? How the elves, there are high elves and lower elves. There's a whole prophecy with elves. This book is dog shit. It
Oh my
is
God.
I am like 4 chapters in and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh my
I
God.
can't even keep up with his ADHD. And I'm like, I'm there. I'm like, yo, ADHD queen over here. I'm like,
Oh,
could have been on medicine when she was 8 years old and like was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do this anymore when I'm 16, never taking Ritalin again in my life. He can't complete a complete thought. Not even a complete thought. Like,
gosh.
we'll start a story, right? We'll like start a cool, and then he like, oh, now there's a flashback to something else happening. Oh, there's a song about something that happened in the past, but I'm not going to say the song. I'm not going to play the song for you like they do in Lord of the Rings, where like the elves sing and like you see the poem of the elves singing and it's like a totally different language. No, this man just over explains the story through the story. Like, here's oh, the bard was talking about this, and then, well, they were saying that this happened, and oh, well, Cersei like died, and they're like, well, no, she really didn't die, and it's like them like, I am so annoyed.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
I was thinking I'm gonna get all the juicy details. I can't wait for all the stuff that they couldn't put in the show. No, it is like it's like an 8th grader wrote a story about elves
Oh my
and
gosh.
bards and a hero with a sword. And maybe I'm just being really, it is translated from Polish.
Yeah.
So there could be some
Lost in
disconnect there,
translation thing.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. It could also be this publisher. Um, so maybe we'll just shit on the publisher for a second.
She's like, hang on, let me look it up so I can make sure
Yeah, let
everyone
me see
knows
who
who
we
we're
did it
shitting
before I
on.
just start
Oh
slandering them.
my gosh.
It only talks about it was see this is printed in the USA, translated by Dacia Stock. So it's not even translated by the author, which if I was like I would be kind of annoyed if my stuff was being translated and I wasn't like involved.
What
I
if
mean,
the
I might
author
not know
doesn't speak
English.
English? Like, how do you like,
Yeah, I know, but
you
like
know? Mm.
I mean
I,
you're right. I mean
it's hard when
you're
it's
not
like when you're comparing like book adaptations like in movies and TV to like the
right.
actual book. Like there have been instances where like the movie or the show is better, and then there's instances
Right.
where the
Oh,
like the
right.
book is better, and it's like, but it's so hard. Like I had this conversation with my mom
Yeah.
the other day. She's not a book person at all. Like you can't get her,
Okay.
but like with TV shows, she gets so pissed when like she won't say the word pissed. Of course, that's no no.
You're right.
But
Oh
like
no. No,
you
never,
you
never.
don't speak that way. But like she so pissed like if a movie or a TV show gets like remade and they change things or like
Right.
update it.
Right.
For some reason, I'm completely fine with that. Like completely fine.
Well, it's like it's a different medium. It's like
It's a
using
book,
it's
it's
like
a whole
I
thing.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different.
No, you can't
It's
just
like,
let it dictate your happiness like that because
yeah,
I've always so I have a few analogies that I like when people like to argue the same thing with me. So I have a few analogies. First and foremost, anyone else who paints a sunflower, it's inspiration. You don't own a sunflower. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
can,
yeah,
artistic interpretations can be mimics and also alms. Like there's a way of like being like, I really love that the way that that was. I can't wait to do it my way.
yeah.
There's also, hey, this is a book and a video are totally different
They're totally
things.
different things. Like,
This allows you to learn
yeah,
and explain something in
perfect.
your own, like in your own imagination. Whereas movies are like, this is how someone else imagined it.
Yeah, like if you're going from like a TV show, for example, like you've
Yeah.
got a TV
Yeah.
show or a movie or whatever, like you
Mhm.
already have a visual. There's like
Yeah.
you know what's going on. But then let's say 20 years down the road, someone redoes it and updates it to be
Right.
more current and changes
Right.
things. It's another visual of a visual we already had. But if it's a book, like you don't have that
Right.
visual, you need to get
Right.
visual.
You have to get
You
to the
gotta
visual
get
part
the
first.
visual.
Right.
Like,
No, and you're
don't
right.
be
I
changing my
understand.
characters. Like,
Yes,
don't be like
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
found there's this book series that I read like years ago. I can't even remember like how many years ago. And it was such a good series and I loved it. And it was like there was sort of like spin-offs, you know, and went through like the whole cast of characters and everything.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And this was before Kindle Unlimited. I think you can get the whole series on Kindle Unlimited, and I think she's expanded it. But then they came out with a movie. And I was like, oh, a movie of the book. I'm like, yeah, it's so good. And then I see the trailer and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, they changed it. Like,
Okay, so I
I'm
have
like,
like I
what? I'm like, this is wrong. So I put off
okay. Yeah.
watching it for like years. Like the movie came out
Yeah.
in like 2018. I
Yeah.
put it off for so long. And then when we
Yeah.
went on staycation like a couple weeks ago, I was
Yeah.
like, you know
Uh-huh.
what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna watch this. So we watched it. And I can't believe I got him to sit down and watch it. And then I was like, okay, if I'm looking at it objectively, it's a cute
Right.
movie. It's nice. It's
Right.
romantic. You know, it's
Right.
funny.
Right. 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 Right.
But
Right.
I'm like, as soon as the credits rolled, I'm like, here's what's wrong with it, though. I'm like, they changed this and this and
Yeah.
this, and this
Yeah.
is not the same. And it's like,
Right.
but objectively, it was a lovely movie and it was
Right.
nice. But then,
But if
like,
you didn't know the subject matter, you could be like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
like, but the whole time I couldn't stop thinking about, okay, one, he's not supposed to be a country singer. He's supposed to be a tatted up rock star. Those are two
Right.
completely different things.
Right.
I'm like, and then it's
Right.
like in the book, it's like 10 years later. In the movie, it's 8 years later. I can live with that. 8 years, 10 years, I can live with that. You know, maybe
Right.
8 years coming back is a little more acceptable than 10 years. But like there was a kid involved. In the book, the kid's a
Uh-huh.
boy. In the movie,
Yeah.
it's a girl. I'm like, why? Why
Right.
like what?
Right.
Like, no.
So I have
It's
two
not
I
the
have two
same.
other examples. I have like two examples of
It
how
got me
this
worked up.
exactly has made me mad and how it's made me happy.
Mhm.
So, well, maybe three, because I read a lot of books that are movies. So, first off, my favorite book of all time is Maximum Ride from James Patterson. James Patterson is one of my favorite authors.
Mhm.
It was my first book I ever loved, besides Great Expectations, but I didn't really love, it's just one of those like school books you read
It's
that you're like,
a classic book.
I didn't
Yeah.
really
It's a
love it. I just was like, oh,
classic.
maybe I like reading But Maximum Ride, the whole series, I've read every book. I've read even the side plot books that are all written in different people's perspectives. They made a movie.
Mhm.
This movie, this is a book about children experiments with like they have wings and superpowers and shit.
Ooh, okay.
And this movie was probably made in like maybe 2003, 2002.
I'm over here Amazoning this. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's a great series. It's kind of made for like teens. It has that like teen angst kind of like she talks to herself in the third person kind of in a way.
okay.
Anyways, to me, it's a great book. When I read it, it was a great book. I haven't read it in a long time. The
Yeah.
movie is terrible. I mean, it follows the storyline. The characters don't look the way that they're supposed
Oh,
to.
I hate
The
that.
CGI is kind of shitty, but I
Um,
still was like, love it because I just love the universe and I love it.
yeah.
Now, you look at another really great example is Stephen King books. Another one of my favorite authors is Stephen King, and I read most of his books that turn into movies. And one of my favorite books is Pet Sematary. And this is now a book that's been made into a short series in the 80s and then was redone in a movie. And Dune was the same way. One of my favorite books of all time.
Oh,
Dune was a
okay.
book in the 80s. They made, well, actually early 60s, 70s, made a TV show, TV movie, or whatever you want to call it, where they were like short movies, but not a real full movie or whatever. And they released it on TV
Gotcha, gotcha.
in the 80s. And then they just redid it. Obviously, the new one just came out.
Yeah.
The newest one is about to come out. So a Pet Cemetery. I don't know if you've read any Stephen King. Or do you know? Are you aware of his writing?
I'm aware. I've seen some of the movies. I have not read any of the books though. I think I have some like maybe like the samples on my Kindle because that's how I keep up with my reading list. I just download the samples so I know that hey, you need to go
What do
back.
you want to do next?
Yeah.
Okay, so well, Stephen King's writing is very convoluted. It's very up it's for interpretation in a sense.
Oh.
A lot of I have to reread some chapters because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like you can't kind of keep up because he's like, is this happening or is this an illusion? Is this what is happening? Like, because you just never know. It's so sci-fi, it's so
Yeah.
different. Like, and for someone who's probably like a way advanced reader, maybe I'm just, behind the curve on when it comes to comprehension. Maybe I'm just not a great reader. I'll take that L. I'll take that L. But in Pet Cemetery specifically, without giving away too many spoilers,
That's cool.
there is an entire chapter where the dad who is who thinks he does something and he wakes up and he didn't do the thing that he did. So you go an entire chapter thinking this man like saved his son's life. And you find out at the end of the chapter he's been like disassociating and he wakes up at his son's funeral.
Oh wow.
A whole chapter,
Oh,
where he's
whole
like,
chapter.
I
You're
saved my
fully invested
son.
at that
I'm so
point. Yeah.
and I was like, what? I mean,
Yep.
maybe that's like that is just kind of his writing. And he tried to get you to kind of get that
Yeah.
kind of what? And he's also the bad guy, the quote unquote monster in the book is a Wendigo, which manipulates your thoughts and kind of like makes you hallucinate and stuff. So it's
Mhm.
like part of the monster as well. But in the book, his son dies and he does a quote unquote ritual to revive his son, who is like 2 years old, is an infant. He's an infant. And at the end of the book, this infant comes back and is like, they comes back to life and goes on like a murder spree as a 2-year-old.
What?
So in the movie, in the 80s film, they do it exactly how it's done in the book, kind of almost like word for word, very like matter of factly.
Uh-huh.
Not really great, not really done well. It's not, you don't have the CGI of this time, whatever. So in the redo of the new movie that just came out probably like what, maybe 4 years ago,
Uh-huh.
they changed the whole story. They change it that he thinks he so they live on this highway where like all these like trucks come by and it's like a weird thing in Maine where I get
I
like
feel
all
like
these
maybe that's one
major.
I've seen.
Is
Maybe
it the one you've seen?
I don't know. The hubby makes me watch scary movies sometimes, and
Oh, okay.
I know
Well, it is a scary movie
some of my
because
favorite.
he only
I
writes really
watch
like
them for
horror.
him. Although he mentioned last night that I don't watch them enough for him, so apparently that's going to happen this weekend. Scary movie.
Oh, well, I love scary movies, so I'll get you on the little scary movie train.
Oh,
I
okay.
promise you.
I end up with nightmares. He'll put one on and then go to sleep, and then I'll
No,
wake up like
no.
being murdered. Like it
No,
happened.
think of it as training. Think of it as like you're training on how to survive a situation like that. It takes away the whole disillusion of it being scary. You were literally just watching like police evidence of how to not get killed. That's pretty much all you're doing. That's all you got to do. Look at it as okay. So going back to the story. Okay. So in the new movie, they change it where he does save his son, but his daughter dies because he has an older daughter, she's like 11. So
Oh.
they do the thing in the book where he does save his son. Both kids are like out on the road about to get hit by this truck. And he goes and saves the infant and then doesn't see his daughter get hit by the truck. So it does what the book was trying to get you to see, but then also flips it to like, now the daughter's the one that's dead, and then he's going to do the ritual on her to get her to come back to life, and then she's going to be the one that goes around and kills everyone.
I feel
Makes
like maybe that's
so much more sense.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one that he made me watch one time.
Yes. So
There a
that's
cat
not how
in
the
there?
book is at all. It's like completely opposite in the book. But to me, in my brain, when I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, that's wrong. But
Yeah.
this is better. But
Yeah.
this makes more sense.
Yeah.
You would have more of an emotional attachment to an older child than an infant. You wouldn't to me, it's just not scary to have a 2-year-old run around with like a knife and like the
Yeah,
2-year-old doesn't have any
that's
remembrance of his parents. It's not cognitive. 2-year-olds
yeah,
are not like that.
that's
Makes
real.
zero sense unless the Wendigo is just using his body as like a host,
Oh, well,
which
that's a whole different scenario.
argue, yeah, and a lot of
Yeah.
people argue that because it's not explained. I mean, Stephen King's books
Yeah.
are not explained. It's not Tolkien, where like the color of the tree leaves are told to you. This is like, did it happen? Did the Wendigo take over? Is there even a Wendigo? Like, it's just one of those things where like they totally changed it, but I was on board with the change.
Yeah.
Now, there are some instances where you have people who are dedicated to the craft, like Lord of the Rings, where they put as much as possible into the movies that are directly correlated to the books, or even other books that are not associated with the book that they're technically making the movie out of. And that's like Lord of the Rings series to me is like chef's kiss when it comes to like book adaptation.
See, I haven't
That's
read
a
those
word.
books. I've seen the movies, but I haven't read the books. And like, but
Tori,
I think it's been one
I
of those
thought we were gonna be friends. Like
Well,
I thought we had a connection. I thought we were gonna be like besties.
No, I think it's been like one of those fears of like you love the movies and you're like, if I read the books,
No, read the books.
am I
No,
gonna
read them.
like,
They're amazing.
okay, so
They're
I just need to
amazing.
read them.
They're
Because
probably one of the most well-written books. To me, that and Dune are like my top two, like sci-fi / fantasy. It's Lord of the Rings and then it's Dune. Oh, I can't wait to talk about Dune now. Wait, don't get me started on
no,
Dune.
I haven't seen or read that yet. So I mean that's gonna have
Oh,
to
you just need to read the books. You need to read
yeah.
all of them.
Like
You need to read
okay,
all of them.
so it's not a sci-fi thing, but like have you ever seen the movie Sahara with Matthew McConaughey?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's based off a book. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Okay. So I watched the movie and I was like, oh, this is a great movie. I like it. And so I'm like, okay, it's a book. I have to read the book.
I have to read the
So
book.
I found the book and then I found out that it was like part of like this whole series. And so I'm
Right.
like, okay. So I was like, let's go for it. And so I've like started at the
Committed.
beginning and I'm like, I think Sahara might be maybe like the third book. I can't remember. It's been years since I've read it.
Oh, I see. It's not even the first
Not
of the
first book.
series.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so when I think I read it first just because, I've seen the movie and I'm like, it is nothing like the movie. Absolutely nothing like the movie. It's like what? I feel like when they say it's like based off of this novel, no, it should say it's kind of sort of loosely, maybe possibly inspired by it. Like I feel like the disclaimer needs to be like really big because it was like the whole thing, like throughout the entire movie, like he's searching for this ship and for this treasure. It's like this whole thing, like that's completely devoted to like his life is like being taken over by this search. In the book, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little part of the story. And I'm like, it's more of like technical, like scientific type of stuff. And it's more like, the other side of the movie where they're talking about like the WHO and like this plague. And that's more in the book than in the movie. And it's, like that's just sort of like a side happening of like this ship. It's like nothing like the book was great. the movie was great, but you have to look at them as two
They're
complete.
almost like completely separate. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like the
Well,
other day, we found one, like the hubby was searching for a movie to watch on the Xbox. We were like laying in bed, we're like, let's do a movie.
right.
And we could not decide on a movie. I'm like, if you're going to make me stay up late to watch a movie, because I don't stay up late hardly ever anymore. And he's like,
Right.
we're
Right.
still on staycation. Let's stay up late and watch
Yeah.
a movie. I'm like, okay, we have to both agree on it. If I'm making the effort to prop up and stay awake.
Yeah.
And so he starts scrolling through, and I just see like a title, and I'm like, wait, go back. And he clicks on it, and I get like 2 sentences into the description, and I'm like, you got to play the trailer. Like right now, this is one of my books. You have to play the trailer. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was a book that I read back in, well, I pulled it up on Amazon so I could tell you, 2013. Okay. And
Wow.
I recognized
You
it.
got a Kindle that long?
Yeah, apparently. I think I got it in like 2012.
That's 10 years.
This might be my third one. Oh, damn, it is.
Oh,
So yeah, this might be my third one. And I decorated it,
I love it. No, but I saw your little case you got too. The new little case you
So
got.
I got two. This is my second one. But like I
Oh.
saw the title, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I saw like just like the 2 sentences of the description. I was like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, this is that book. I have to see
Yeah.
the trailer. And then
Yeah.
like it was one of those things where, you know, you either rent it or you buy it type of thing. And like
Right.
renting these days on those things, they suck because it's like, you know, just tiny little time frame. And so we watched the trailer, and I immediately wanted to see the trailer again. I was like, okay, yes, this looks good. I was like, this looks good. I was like, I would say he should be a little bit bigger, but like not, I mean, that can be taken different ways. I mean, like
Yeah.
tall,
Yeah. I mean,
muscular,
I know what kind of
bigger,
books you read,
you
so
know,
I mean,
I know. So like, I was like, this is what I want to watch. If we're watching a movie, this is what I want to watch. And
this
then
is what I want.
he vetoed it. He's like, no, let's not stay up late. I want to go to bed. I'm like, because I chose like a romantic comedy type of thing. And so he's like, I promise we'll watch it tomorrow. So like the next morning I
Okay.
get up and I'm like loading the dishwasher and like doing things
Mhm.
like, and then I was like, I'm going to watch the trailer again. So I watched it again, and I'm like, as soon as I saw it like that night, I texted Mandy and I was like, I found another book movie. And she's like, oh shit, what now? So I watched the trailer and I'm like, you know what? The trailer looks so good. I'm buying it right now. Just straight up
Just do
buying
it.
the movie.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
renting. I've seen it twice already. Like, it's so good. Like it's a
Yeah.
really good. Like there's not thing. I mean, some stuff is not spot on, but like you can't get it. Spot
Yeah.
on.
You can get
But
over
it's
it. Yeah. You can get over the little
so good.
changes.
It's so good. And it's Beautiful Disaster, Jamie Maguire. If you have not read that,
Oh.
oh my gosh, it's so good. And it's like a whole series because like they have 3 books, but then he's one of like 5 brothers. And so like they all have their own books later on, and it's the whole thing. And it's just so good. But Beautiful Disaster is the first one. And the movie was so good. It came out this year. That's why I'd never seen it before. Came out this year, like in maybe like March or something, April.
Full disaster. Okay.
So good. The movie is hilarious. It was really good. I mean, you know, some of the stuff I pictured in my head is not quite right, but like just thinking about it makes me want to watch it again. Like
It's on.
it was
Okay.
on,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
it's like you can find it, and
Okay.
it's there's another one that I
Cool.
found like
Yeah.
on
Which one?
Netflix. It's called I think it's done in Spanish with like English
Dubbed.
dubs, but I think it's a foreign book, so I don't know if it's a Spanish book or I can't remember, but I found out after watching it that it is like a book. It's from a book, and it's like being translated, and like the next one's going to come out.
Good.
So I'm thinking
Yeah.
maybe they're going to make like a second movie. I'm hoping, because I think it's a Netflix exclusive movie right now. And like we started watching it. He actually picked that one, and which I thought was crazy. Like he picked it. I don't even think like you couldn't even see a trailer. He's just like, let's just go with this one. And then he fell asleep. That's okay. But I watched it, and I've also seen that one again because it was just so
Yeah.
good. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it started out and like I was like, babe, this feels like one of my books. And he's like, no, what do you no? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm telling you, like Like, because
that's me telling you it's one of
I'm
my
like, I'm
books.
telling you, this is going to be like one of my books. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, okay, look, her mom just got remarried. She's being forced to move into the new guy's house. And oh, look, it's a mansion. And oh,
Yeah.
look, who has a hot stepbrother? And it's like, oh, they're getting together. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, it's happening. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
like races, like car races, and like, oh, gangs. Like, yeah, this is one of my books.
It's one of my books. Did you watch
Casey
that one
Stover?
movie? I don't
Yeah.
know if that was a book that what's her name from Alice in Wonderland and Tom Hiddleston were in together. Crimson Keep or something like that. Not Tom Hiddleston. Is it Tom Hiddleston? Is that his name? Yes, Tom Hiddleston. Crimson Peak. It's a horror, so and it might be you might like it, and the hubby might like it. I don't know if it was a book
Oh,
though.
okay.
So good, so good. Oh, so another great example
Okay.
of how so Dune, written in the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
made into a short TV film in the 80s. CGI is terrible. I mean, this is full sci-fi. I mean, we're in space. We're on different planets. We're on an entire planet made out of sand. I mean, like, there's no way of being able to depict like what this time of what this day and age has in CGI.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was before its time. It's like before its
Mhm.
time. It was before Star Wars, I will tell you that. And it's arguably like it's better than
Oh,
Star Wars.
oh, that's a big claim.
Unpopular opinion. I
That's
don't care.
a big
I'll
claim.
die on that hill.
Oh,
I'll die on that hill.
okay.
Because to me, it's like it's rooted in universe making
Mm-hmm.
versus like let's just do some cool shit. Where like Star Wars was created like from like the idea of like let's just make some cool shit, and then it turned into a universe because people loved it so much.
Yeah.
Versus like this book. So in the book though, you know how like in certain writings, and I don't know what the fancy literature name for it is, but it's like you hear the thoughts of the characters
Oh,
in
yeah.
real time.
Oh,
Each character though, like it's not narrated or from the perspective of just one person. You
yeah.
hear everyone's thoughts
Yeah.
while they're talking, and then
Yeah.
it'll be like, and he thought this.
Yeah.
So and it's really cool because you get to see like everyone's perspective, and you get to see because there's a lot of like espionage and like ooh who did it kind of moments.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's so many good characters, they're all so dynamic. And like when they tried to do the 80s film, they literally had them like narrate their thoughts while the person just kind of looked on screen
Oh,
awkwardly. So it like didn't translate.
yeah.
That's something that is written
That's
in a book
that's very
to
hard
make
to
sense to
translate.
the reader.
Yeah.
That doesn't translate to a movie.
It's really hard. Like there's a book that I read that like I hesitate to mention it because I don't want to get like hate, okay? I don't
Right,
I don't want
right,
to get hate. But like when I stopped like being really into like books, like school's happening, stuff's going on, you don't have time to read or
right.
whatever. I'll admit Twilight. Okay? I got into
Okay.
reading from Twilight. I'll admit it, okay? The books are better than the movies, okay? But
Books are better.
the movies got better. The first one, not so much. Even though, like at the time when it came out, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And that's what got me to go pick up the book. Anyways, so Stephanie Meyer
Well, you
wrote,
gotta remember it's like written for teenagers.
yeah, like, but okay. So Stephanie Meyer wrote The Host. Have you read it? It's
No, is
like
it good?
super thick. I have read it like I don't know, like 4 or 5 times. Seriously, it's good. It's really good. But I will
Right.
say, when you read it, you read all the way through front to back. On your
Right.
reread, just skip to chapter 4. Like, because the first, like, it was kind of hard. Like, you know how some books, like, you really get
Oh,
into
I
it
did see
from
they
like,
came out with a movie. They came out with a movie
they
too.
did come out with a movie. Yes. And so, like, when you read it, like, you have to read those first 4 chapters. And I will say that they are just like, they're kind of hard to get through, but you got to have them to set up the story.
Okay.
But whereas some books,
Okay. Yeah.
like the
Right.
first line in the preface gets you, like you have those books. This was not
Mhm.
one of those books. So on my rereads, I just started like chapter 4, I think. but there's
Right.
parts in the book where like it's about this like alien race that
Right.
gets inserted into the person's head and the person
Hmm.
becomes like the host for this alien creature. Well, most
Right.
people when they put the little thing in there with the little alien creature that looks like a little centipede thing, when they put it in there, like
Hmm.
that takes over like the complete personality of the host. Like they're no longer there. Well, in her
Oh,
instance, when they put it in, she fights it like the whole time.
okay.
And so
Yeah.
like in the book, there's like this back and forth dialogue of like
Oh, of
they're
like
talking in her
of
head.
the alien and her.
Yeah, because she's
Okay.
like fighting her and she's like, you're not gonna, you know, like, I'm not going away. Like I'm here, I'm not going away. And so I was very
Right.
curious how they were going to do that in the movie. And I think they did a pretty
Hmm.
good job because like sometimes like you can like she talks out loud and then you hear the other voice that's like
In her
in her
head.
head, like you hear it.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah.
other times where it
Yeah.
feels like she's looking in the mirror and talking to the
Right.
personality in her head. Like, so I think
Right.
that they translated that really well. I think if it was, if she was, if it both came across as like both like internal dialogue and she wasn't like talking out loud to the voice in her head, I think it
I
would have
think
been
there's a
really
way of being able
awkward.
to do that, like cinematically. There's when you watch like movies of people who have like dual personalities, I think they kind
Yeah.
of do like a good way of like, well, one person's standing this way
Yeah.
talking, and the other person's like has
Yeah.
a different demeanor and has
Yeah.
like a different tone in their voice. I think there's a way of like there is a certain way of translating some stuff into cinematography that
Yeah.
is written really well in a
Yeah.
book,
But sometimes it's like really
And
hard. Some people can do it and some
it's
people
just hard.
can't. It's hard.
You just have to have the eye for it, and
Yeah.
it has to make sense to the story.
Yeah.
Like I think one of my biggest gripes, I mean, like I'm a Harry Potter fan through and through, and I've read the series probably twice now. Now I've seen Dune like at this point probably like 30 or 40 times. Like I watch the movie all the time, like
Really?
it's like always on. Like I just love it, like I just love it. And Harry Potter used to be the same thing with me too. I used to watch it every year, like every
Yeah.
year on Christmas time I just put them all on and we just
It's
watch
like
all
a
of them. We just have like
marathon.
a whole movie
Yeah.
binge. Now Lord of the Rings is kind of similar, but they're really long, and
Oh, they're so long. But I'm okay
I
with
always fall asleep. I always fall asleep. I always but so when Harry Potter takes people are get mad when like certain things were taken out of the books. I don't I I don't
You
know.
can't
To
include
me,
everything,
and I know
especially if the book is like super long. I mean,
so big. And
yeah,
there's things that are just like little fun little moments that like really don't mean anything to the story. It's just cool.
it's great
So
in
it's
a
like
book, but doesn't work
yeah, it
well
doesn't
in a
really, it
film.
would just be like, well, what was that for? And it's like, well, it was just cool and it was in the book, so we put it in the movie. Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's so many, like, there's a really big thing that they took out, but I know there's a lot of hate with what's her name, and I understand why people are upset with her, but in her books too, like the movies specifically take out some like really racist stuff in the book, like
oh,
a lot of like really like I would say like capital, like when you like have a book and they have like something that's implemented in the book and you're like, oh, that's totally a direct correlation to like capital punishment or like
oh,
like
mhm.
the system or what, you know what I mean? Like there's I
Yeah,
mean obviously there's like the Ministry of Magic, which is supposed to be like the government, and then there's also like the house elves that are very like slave like, and so like I understand like some of the things that they were like, we have to still have this in the story because it makes sense, but maybe we don't have the alcoholic elf that lives in the house of so there's like some things that they like definitely took out where it's like, yeah, no, that was a good call. I was like, that was a good call. Like same thing with Stephen King. Like it is kind of a shitty book. And that's unpopular opinion, and I'll probably get canceled for it. But like it to me, it's too long. There's way too many flashbacks. And the movies did a good job of like showing the story of the kids it happening and then
yeah,
having the adults in the second one flashing back to the kids as adults, like
yeah,
as adults. Because that's kind of more how the book is read, is very like, remember what happened to us? And then they like go back and remember everything that happened to them. Um, but I mean, there's also like rape in that book, and then there's like an orgy in that book, and there's like child pornography. I mean, it's just like there's just dark shit that like
I mean, there's
it's
some
not going
books.
to translate well.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
going to translate well,
there's
you know?
some books I read that they would not go over well as movies.
Right.
Like, it's one thing if it's in a book, like you can
Right.
logically know, hey,
Right.
you can accept the fact that it's okay with you in a book, but it would not be okay in real life. Like we know it
Right.
is not
Right. Like this
okay to
is
be attracted
fiction.
to
Like
a
this
serial
is
killer.
fiction. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Like I don't need to physically, but that's, I mean, maybe this might be opening a can of worms, but what are your thoughts on 50 Shades of Grey?
love them. I don't care
Well,
if
what
that's
about the movies? What about the movies?
okay. All right, here we go. I own all of them. First off, okay, I own the books. I
Yeah.
own the one that came out later. I think it's called Gray, where it's like
Yeah.
his point of view.
His point of view. It's
Yeah,
like written from his point of view,
yeah.
not
So I
hers. Yeah,
mean,
that's kind of how Maximum Ride is. There's like one book that's written by Fang, which is like the
yeah.
love interest.
So
Yeah.
I've read the books. I've watched the
Yeah.
movies. The books
Okay.
are better than the movies. The movies are great,
I mean, yeah.
but it's like, but also like that genre, I love reading it. So I mean,
Right.
it's
Right.
not for everybody, clearly. And there's
Right.
like some instances where it's like, okay, it's a little much. Not in that book. That's fine. I'm
People just go
fine
to
with
the
all
bottom
of
of
that.
the
I'm like, I'm okay with them. I would not
I can
discuss it
use
with
my
my mother,
imagination. I don't need
but
to.
it's like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
well, I mean, in that same genre, there's another book series. It's a Polish book series that
Okay.
they have I think they're in the process of translating it to English. And when it happens, I think some people have like created versions where they have translated it that's not like legit versions. So I
I
wouldn't
see.
read
More like
those.
fan translated, like fan
Maybe something
translated.
like that. I think that exists,
Okay.
but it's they turned it into Netflix movies. And I was not prepared for that, but I heard about it from one of my favorite authors in that genre, and she shared it in like her Facebook group that I'm in. And so then other people started then it became like a countdown for when it happened because it came out on Netflix in Europe before it came out in the
Oh
US.
yeah, 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 yeah. They do that. They
And
do that sometimes. They
and
have different
so
release
like
dates.
now they've created, I think they've done all three now. And I really want to read the books because I feel like, it's one of those things where like in real life, that's not okay. Like, that
Yeah.
that's not okay
Yeah.
for him to like want her, take her, and then like,
Yeah.
and then she
Yeah.
eventually falls in love with him type of thing. Like in real
Right.
life,
Some
that's not
Stockholm
okay.
syndrome bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
in real life,
Some
that's not okay.
abusive,
We can
toxic
make that,
gaslighting.
but that does not mean that it's not okay to read.
No.
Just, not my
Right.
mother. We're not
Well, I
going to
think there's
discuss
a
that with
difference
my
between
mother.
like fantasizing about something that you think you might like too.
Yeah.
Cause I
Well,
mean, I think that's where like a lot of like kink culture comes from is that like you like the idea of it maybe happening, but like you haven't even actually had that happen to you or even seen that
yeah.
happen in real life.
Well,
So
and
like,
like
how
books
do you
let
know?
you
Yeah.
live out things that like,
Vicariously too. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, things that that you would not be okay with in real life.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
okay to like be totally okay with a house full of serial killers. That is
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah.
In real
Oh yeah.
life, not so much. Like, let's not do that. Okay. Like, that's, somebody
Oh
might
my God.
need
Dude,
therapy.
I'm like obsessed with true crime. But the moment I would
Like,
like meet someone that's like, I've killed someone, I would lose my shit. I wouldn't be
yeah.
able to like
Like,
keep it cool and be like,
in
oh,
a
that's
book,
so cool. Like
it's,
I didn't know you did that.
it's just
Yeah.
like if you watch a movie and like if you're
Uh-huh.
in like the scary movie thing and like someone
Right, right,
scoops
right,
out somebody's eyeball with a spoon, in a
right.
movie, it's
Right,
okay. Real life, not so much. In a book, it's okay. Real life,
right.
not
No,
so
I
much.
mean,
Don't go
so
scooping out people's eyeballs.
right. Well, okay.
Like
Well, and that this
I
is
give
gonna
you that
also be kind of
example because
controversial,
I've
but
seen that both in
I
a
am,
movie and a book.
yeah, I love scary movies that could be real. I don't like paranormal bullshit. I don't, well, we're gonna get, that's gonna translate us into our other stuff, but um I my favorite horror film is Chainsaw Massacre, which is all
Yeah.
about cannibalism and like
No.
cutting people up and eating
Mm,
them. Like that's
mm.
not okay. I don't think any of that's okay, but it's my
Right.
favorite fucking movie. I love
See,
it. I love how like
mm,
scary because it could be real.
yeah.
It
Oh,
could that could that ex- oh wait, that actually did happen in Texas.
oh.
They
See,
did
it's
find a bunch of teenagers that were killed. Like that kind of shit,
oh.
that's real scary to me.
See,
So
that's the
that's why
kind of
like
stuff I don't want to see in a movie. Like I
yeah,
can read
right.
it
Where
in the book. Like
I'm like
I have like a very, very, very vivid imagination, and
yeah,
apparently,
so you're like, I don't need the visual.
it's apparently it's a thing. I didn't know that it's a thing where like some people they read a
Oh,
book and they see it, and other
oh
people
my God.
it's just words. But I totally
Yes.
see it. Like I
Oh my
can
God, you
read a
it's a whole
scene.
thing.
Like
Your brain can do something some people's can't. You have
yeah,
a
like
whole like
oh, like Candace Wondrak. Read her
yeah.
books if you like dark, dark
Mhm.
stuff mixed in with your romance and your why choose and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. You know, it's okay for me to read that gory type of stuff in a book, but I don't like it in a movie. Like I can see it in my head because I've seen it in a movie, but it doesn't mean
Did
I
you say
want
Kendra
to.
Scott? That's a
No,
jewelry thing.
no, Candace Wondrak.
Can't just
No.
you're
uh,
silly. Oh, but you're so right. You're so right. Because I think that there's so many there's also that like unknown that I think people are alert to. Like there could be some psychological stuff with that. I mean, I'm not like a
yeah,
sociologist or anything or a
yeah,
psychologist or in any means, but there's something to that. It's like when you're a kid and you're like, I know I could get in trouble for this, but like I'm kind of gonna do it anyways. Like it's that kind of like serotonin release because we're not like in a fight or flight anymore, right? Like we're like in this higher society of people, like
yeah,
as a species,
yeah,
right? And so that kind of like alluring, like, ooh, it's like not supposed to happen. Like, I think that's why, like, and not to be like, it's okay to cheat on people or whatever, but I do think that there is just a thing in the back of your brain that goes like, well, like, I know I'm gonna get in trouble for it, but like, it's almost more fun if I'm living on that edge, you know,
yeah,
like, I know I could get in trouble, but like, I haven't gotten in trouble yet. And I think that's what also plays off a lot of those like serial killer brain cells too, is that they kind of they teeter on that like, well, will I get caught this time?
yeah.
You
Well,
know, kind of thing.
if you're into serial killer like books, like
Yeah.
but you know, most of mine that I read, there's like a smutty element because I mean, why
Yeah.
not, right?
That's all right.
Um,
Listen,
but
I was
Candace
reading
Wondrak, I'm
I
telling
wrote I
you,
listened I
all of
did
her
Court
stuff.
of Thorn and Roses and I did the
I haven't
silver
read that
one
yet.
too.
That's on my list. I haven't read it. I've heard that
Oh, it's probably not
it's underrated.
it's
It's
probably
probably
not
not
like
smutty
dirty enough for
enough.
you. I was just about to say, I was like, I think it's like too fantasy
Yeah.
romantic for you. I
Yeah,
think it might be too
I saw some TikTok video the other day and it was talking about like there's no smut like in the first book maybe or something
there's
or
like
like
two scenes. There's
or
like
then
two scenes.
and then it said something about like a chapter long blowjob. Can I say that on a YouTube video? I don't know. I just
Yeah.
did. But it's
Yeah.
like
We're
it's
already NSFA. We curse enough
yeah.
to
But
be
it was
demonetized. So
I was like, no, it's like I'm not into the slow burn. Like I'm not into like
okay,
one
yeah, no,
chapter
I don't
in
want
and
like
we're in love and like getting married and pregnant. Like I'm not into that. But
yeah,
it's
no,
like
like they definitely allude to a lot
I
of
don't want to get to
marriage
the
and
end of the
like
book
it's
and there be no
yeah.
smuts. Like it's gotta be in
I
there.
will say the third book to me is the dirtiest.
Oh,
But
that's a
that's when they're
long
like
wait.
all turned into like high elves and stuff. So like
That's a long wait because those are big books.
there's okay, but you read books really quick. So I feel like
I know,
you
but I
could
get
get
impatient
so
without
the first
the
so okay so the first book so it's so stock it's the like it's definitely Stockholm syndrome like stereotypical like
rest.
I get taken and I fall in love and then I'm like man I really want to bang him no I really do I want to no I don't want to but he's so hot oh wait but now there's this other hot guy and he's really hot but he pisses me off and like I hate him and then it's like and it's like, but now I hate to love him. And now I love that I hate him. And then, man, I can't wait to fuck him. Like, so, like, there's a lot of that in the first
Okay,
book.
I mean that,
And then
you
there's like,
know, that might sell me on it, you know.
yeah, yeah. So it's got a lot of good stepping stones to like
Yeah.
baby's first smudge. You know, it's like probably like, you know, it has a little bit more like, oh, this is romantic, and oh, that's a little dirty. Oh, oh, that's the kind of book it is. Like, I think it's
Yeah.
more like, hey, we're gonna sneak this into
I
here,
mean, it's
and
not
then
like I
later in the
can't
film, like,
read a book without that in it. I can.
right.
It's not my preference. You know,
Yeah, right, right.
it's
I know, like
like,
Lord of the Rings is gonna be boring. Like, you're not gonna
yeah,
like Lord of the
it's
Rings.
like,
Like, it's not gonna be
I
your thing.
like the action adventure type of stuff
Uh-huh.
mixed in with my smut. Like
Yeah.
best of
Yeah.
both worlds. I can
There's not enough of there's
recommend
not even like a
several
love
series
interest.
for
There's
that.
in The Hobbit, there's more of a love interest than there is in Lord of the Rings. There's no love interest. There is, but they're
See,
like
I gotta
forbidden to
have
be
that.
together, and he's an elf, he's a human and she's an elf, and they like kiss
Oh,
twice. Like,
yeah,
it's
like
not like,
I remember
yeah,
that
that's
from the
not enough
movie.
for you.
Like, no, I mean, that's a big investment for not a lot of smut return, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's a big book too. I mean, it's not like, and it's a lot of boring. Like, they were walking through these trees, and these trees have been here for this many
um,
years, and how many people lived in these trees, and I mean, like, and it's like these trees have like personalities, and it's, I mean, it is like he was very descriptive. He's a
yeah.
descriptive man. Um, but yeah, no, I would say, I mean, you could probably just like skip to the third book if you really wanted to. If
No,
you were
you
just
gotta
like, well,
build
let me
that
see if it's
world.
even worth
Like,
reading the other ones.
I mean, what I got distracted by thinking about like, is there another series that I was okay with waiting for the light
Oh,
light smuttiness? Like,
yes.
yeah, there's been some, like, but it's
Yeah.
got to be a really good world in order to do that. Like,
Right. Well, that's Lord of the
yeah,
Rings does like
yeah,
it's top. I mean,
it's
it's the
gotta,
top of the tier for
you
me
know,
when it comes to world building, when it comes to like learning about all the species, learning about all the animals, learning about all the dragons. I mean, it
yeah,
is there. It is top. I mean,
yeah,
it is there. But it's just a lot of reading, and a lot of
yeah.
it's in Elvish. Like, a lot of it's in a totally different language. So like, I don't know if
Hmm,
you know Tolkien, any backstory on him, but he
not
was a
much.
linguist. He
Oh,
wanted to create an entire species so that he could create their own language.
oh
So
wow,
he wrote the Lord of the Rings series to write Elvish. That's why you can learn Elvish. That's why you can speak fluent Elvish. You
wow,
can, there's books on how to pronounce things, how to grammar. I mean, it is like
wow.
he created that story to just create languages.
That's
So
cool.
there's not a lot of sexy, you know,
No,
but
I
that's
gotta
okay.
have
I mean,
some
that's
sightseeing.
okay.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, no, I think there are definitely other series that you haven't read that you would
yeah.
enjoy more, I
Oh,
think,
my
for sure.
list is ridiculously long. It's like, so, and then like the stuff your Kindle day did you know about
Yeah.
that? Like,
And you
I
just get stuck with,
I
yeah.
started like browsing some of those, but most of it was like, yeah, get your first book for free, but then there's like 6 books in the series that you have to buy, and it's like, meh, I don't know about that. But my list of books right now is like ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then me
I
and
have,
Mandy like keep sending each other more, and it's like,
right. And
oh,
it's just, you
this
guys are just doing this to each other.
like
Well, and
over
she
and
kind
over
of
and
blows
over
through them,
again.
and it's like, how do I even keep up?
I know. It's like we were messaging like, was it last night? And she's like, so what book are you reading now? I'm like, I'm on this one. What are you reading now? So right now she's reading a series that I read years ago that I got her started on recently because I got a promo thing for a new this author that I read years ago but haven't read in a while. And I got a new promo thing about a new prequel that was coming out to a series that she had. And I was like, well, I haven't read that one. So I'm like, yeah, sign me up for that. And then I was like, Mandy, do you want the link? Here, sign up too. And so that started her on this thing. So she's just reading all of her books right now. And so that's pretty funny. I think that's great. But
So great. I
there's
mean,
just so
I
many
have,
on my list. I don't know how I'm gonna read them all.
well,
I just
so
like
that's one of the things
reading.
that I struggle with too, is that so I don't even, I have all three of these. There's seven. I have the first three. Don't even know if I'm going to finish the first one, to be honest with you. But I have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo
I've seen the movie. I haven't read
series.
the book yet. Is it
So
good?
good.
Like, have you read?
Oh, I cannot. I've got like three chapters in it, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna have to be like I take a day
Mhm.
because I can't. You know when you like can't. stop reading.
Oh yeah. No, it happened.
Well, I
It
don't have
happened to
I
me
don't
the
have
other
that kind
night.
of time.
It was like midnight, and I'm like still like, no, I gotta finish this. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I just like
Yeah.
I know that I said I was gonna get up with him in the morning, but it's not happening. I've just got to keep reading. It was.
So I was like, I can't start this now. I got to start something else that I can
Yeah.
just kind of pick up and put down. And now I've picked it up, and I think I'm putting it back down.
Yep.
But
I
I
feel like
also
that's the
have
in between books. I feel like is the hardest for me because it's like I
right,
have a list of
right,
like these books are coming out on these days, and it's like
right.
most of the books that I love are like series, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I go through my Kindle, I'm like, okay, read this description, read this description. Oh, book one, oh,
Right,
quite on that. And then you end up finding
right.
one, like I discovered one the other day from a new author that I hadn't read before. And I thought it was a standalone. And then I start
Mm-hmm.
reading it and I realize, nope, this is not a standalone. The next one doesn't come out for several months. And then I
No.
was like, you know what? But it's so good. I'm staying. So Sadie Hunt, new series.
Okay.
Like,
Very good.
yeah. So now I'm into it. Like the second book came out. I got it like the day it came out. I'm like, yep, read
Yeah.
that. So,
So I just bought the Shadow and Bone series after the TV show came out because I
oh
was
my gosh,
obsessed.
that is a great show. It's a
Yeah.
great show. I haven't read the
Yeah,
books, but
the
it's a
book's really good
great
too. It's
show.
pretty close to the book. I mean,
Yeah.
I've only read the first and like half of the second one. They kind of derailed on the second one because they're just making certain characters more important earlier on than the book does,
Yeah.
which is kind of normal because like if you're gonna pay someone to be in a movie, you're not just gonna you know what I mean? You're not just gonna pay for
Yeah.
them to be like barely a character till like halfway through and people are like, who are these
Right.
people?
Yep.
But in a book that kind of makes sense where like a new character gets introduced and you're like, oh, exciting, you know?
Yeah.
So I have all three of those that I am currently, I guess, eventually going to get through.
So exciting.
I
Did you
have
put that on my
Peter
list?
and the Lightning Thief series. If you haven't read, that's more of like a kid's Peter Pan book, but it's done by Disney, and I'm obsessed with Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, and like that was my childhood growing up. So,
If you want some
um,
dark retellings of Peter Pan, I got you a couple series to cover that.
oh, I would love that. I
Yeah.
would love that.
If you
I would love
the
that.
Vicious Lost Boys, Nikki St. Crow. Yes. So good. There's like 4 books in the series. If you love Peter Pan, like dark retelling, that one, and there's another one by C.R. Jane and Ivy Fox. I think they did that together. That it's
Oh,
just
is that the Never King one you're reading right now? Weren't you just reading that?
I did just read it. I read it at the beginning of June. So 4 books in that series. It's really good. Like, and they're short reads. They're not very long. Yeah,
The vicious
The
darkling.
Vicious Lost Boys. Vicious
Yeah,
Lost
vicious
Boys.
lost
Yeah,
boys. It says
I
there's
think
only
so.
1 through 3 books.
No, there's
Are
4.
there 4?
There's 4, right?
Well, Amazon's trying to sell me 3 paperbacks for
Yeah.
$50. So
No, no, there's 4 because it's the Never King and
the dark one.
the Dark One, Their Vicious Darling, and the Fey Princess. And there's a spinoff coming later on this year that is
Oh,
Crocodile Captain Hook situation that I'm very
okay.
excited about. So that's happening. Like, I don't know when, but I'm like keeping an eye on her
Oh,
Instagram.
so the Fey Princess, the book 4 is only on audiobook on Amazon. I can't buy the
Well, the Kindle edition's there.
yeah. Yeah.
Are you like full on like just like
Oh, I'm a real book person.
well no,
I'm a
they
I
have
because it's like a commitment. I
yeah.
guess it's one of those things where like I've bought it, so I have to read it, if that makes
Well,
sense. All right, I'm just
the
gonna buy
paperback
this.
seems to be there for the 4th one. It's there.
Oh, did I just miss it?
I think you just missed it. It's there.
Okay, that's
You
fine.
can get it. Like
Because I want to buy like I
they're
like
really
to buy
good.
like all 4. Like I would like
Yeah,
a
no,
all
they're
4
really
set.
good. They're really good. Check those out. They are like I
Okay.
didn't know what
I
to
did see
expect.
that and I
But
think I was like, ooh, that cover has
I know the
me
cover. Like you gotta catch
definitely
them. They like don't judge a book by the cover, but I totally do.
no,
The cover
I
is
totally
not
do.
like how am I not following her on Amazon? I am now because I gotta know when the next one comes out. Yeah, oh, so good. So good.
Okay.
And
I'll
if
have
you're
to get
looking
those for sure.
for more like book ideas, like go to the library section on my blog because I've started putting like
Yeah.
my monthly reading list on there. So you can just like
Yeah.
just get them all.
Yeah, get them all.
Get 'em all.
I know. When are you gonna get an Amazon storefront?
I don't know. I think I tried that one time before and like it didn't like I got
It
turned down.
declined me, even with my
Yeah.
Simply Nerdy stuff, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna put together like, you know, for centerpieces, like here's a whole album of centerpieces, and
Yeah.
here's like an album for photo, your DIY photo booth, and like they
I mean, maybe
totally
I should
denied
try
me.
again. Like I'm on like the I'm an Amazon affiliate. So I did the
Right,
associate thing. I have that, but I haven't tried the storefront thing in a while. I mean, my Instagram account might be up high enough to where I can do that now, maybe. Not the
right.
Bookstagram, but like the digital planning one. So maybe I'll try that again
Mhm.
because it's been a long time
Yeah.
since I've done it. Um yeah, I should totally do that. Just put on my books. They used to do
Hmm.
they tried to do like a like an Amazon book club thing, and I was like, I'm gonna do that and like put all my books there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
I see that you can kind of, so like it says like right there, I can't even show you. It just says like Amazon Book Club, and you could join, you could like start your own book club.
yeah, I tried that the other day, and it's like you can browse book clubs, and let me see if it does it again. Like it's early access, and I tried. Yeah, if I click create a club, it says Amazon Book Clubs is in early access, and this feature is currently limited. So apparently,
Mm,
I'm not allowed. So I don't know.
weird.
Like I've thought of other ways that like I found some other app that was like creating a book club, but then it was like a way that you could like share passages with people and like comment on the books you're reading together, which I thought was really cool. But then it said like one of the questions was like, do you have to buy the ebook in order to do the book club? And it said, no, you don't.
Mm,
But in order to get the most out of the app, you should. And it's like, okay, they just want to like sell you stuff. So my library section on
mm.
my blog is like my way of doing a book club. So
Well, I like that. I think that that's good. And now with your Bookstagram, it's going to even be easier. You should almost like have like a feed of your Instagram on that part of your website.
oh,
Can you do that?
I can look into that.
I
I,
think that's a good idea for
I'm gonna put
sure.
that on my list because if I don't write it down, I will forget it.
Hmm.
Okay. Because I will forget. I will forget that. I know that I will. If I don't write
Don't
it
forget
down, it
it.
is not staying in my head. So it is there. But yeah,
Hmm.
I I'm loving the book stuff, and I tried with my Bookstagram. I was like, I want a pretty structured grid like what I have on my digital planning thing. But then I was like, no, it's nice to not have that pressure of I can just take a picture of my book and share it. And then I started finding a groove. So I'm just letting that one go. Just whatever happens, happens on that page.
Hmm.
And so I need to add this book because I haven't added it. And I have a picture of this before it got all like, like
Yeah.
there's a there's a gap in here because it's the Amazon Oasis or the Kindle Oasis. So
Oh,
there's like this little
yeah.
flippy part. And so there's like a bubble gap in here that these ones float around.
Oh
These stay
no.
still and then these stay still, but then these they just kind of float
They
around.
kind of like
Like,
slide around.
yeah, it's okay.
Oh.
It's kind of fun. It's like one of those pins that like you turn upside down
Oh, that has like
and it
the,
moves.
yeah,
So
that's kind of
that's
cute. Yeah, I love
kind of
that.
like how I'm thinking of it. But I spent way too long cutting out stickers the other day because all I had was Happy Planner stickers. And
Yeah.
so that was kind of a pain in the ass to like cut all those out. And then I like messaged my PR team and I was like, I blame you guys for this distraction because like we had this whole chat the other day,
Hmm.
Kindle stickers, and Mandy started sending me all these links to different Etsy shops that had smutty book stickers. And I'm like, I'm
Oh,
gonna have to get some of
fun.
those. So,
Oh no.
so it's like
Oh
those are just like
no.
sitting in my cart. I'm gonna have to get those and then just change this up every once in a while. But I was like, I blame you guys for this distraction
Yeah.
when I know I should be
Yeah.
doing something else. But
Yeah.
I'm really happy with it. I think it turned out
Yeah,
fun.
it's super cute.
I
It's
had to
super cute. Do you
include
have your logo on there?
no, I should. I should.
Yeah, do a little sticker. Yeah.
Should. Yeah, I just went through like I don't know how many Happy Planner sticker books and it was like
Yeah.
pulling out. I was like, I have to include a unicorn because that's just fun. And
Yeah, so
teal and
cute.
pink and so it was fun. I like it.
That's so cute. I love it. Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to us rant about books for like an hour.
Ranting. Just like, give us a book topic, we will go.
We will limit it. We will make sure that that topic doesn't come up too often because we
Maybe
did
like
have
just
like
once
two
a
things
month.
to go over today, and then we just kind of back burnered them, which is fine. But we're getting close to filming. We're definitely getting to a place where we're gonna have enough videos to like launch the channel, and I'm getting really, really excited.
So exciting. So
All right,
exciting.
guys. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see. Oh, like us down on Instagram. The links will be down on the bottom. Now that Tori's got 2 channels on
Yeah.
Instagram,
Mhm.
so not only her planner stuff, but her book obsession.
I know. It's growing. It's growing.
Good. It's so great. And I have too many to even talk
So
about.
many. We can list them all though.
Perfect. Perfect.
Put it
Perfect.
all in
All
there.
right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.